Where do I have to go? Ah, that way. Good morning on day 24 on the way of St. James, from Molinaseca to Villafranca, 30 kilometers. We were in the albergue, Signor Oso, that means Mr. Bear in English. And the host was character, funny, quirky, warm-hearted. And the breakfast was fantastic. There was huge home-baked bread and lots of jam, butter, and so on. I have to tell you, I love breakfast. I always have to force myself not to eat so much at breakfast. But I treated myself to this today. Plus 2 coffees con leche. Wow, the day can start. I feel good, and people here just love their parties in the evening. The city was an absolute gem again, absolutely beautiful. Last night, from 10 p.m. onwards, the streets filled up and people partied, all night long. I had earplugs in, but the drums and musicians were running through the streets all night. So people love to party, but people also love this religious festivity. It all mixes together a bit. And we always asked ourselves, whenever we traveled through small villages, if you go through there between 8 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, the supermarket or a cafe is usually open for commercial reasons. But all the other houses are barricaded, they're closed. It seems as if nobody lives there. And this morning, the hostel warden told us, yes, they sleep, they get up at some point around 9 p.m. and then they party. That's life. By the way, people don't just love parties, people also love their doors. Sounds strange, but that's how it is. Every door is customized. Doors are the big thing here. I should actually make my own collage of all the doors I see here. So, of course, I don't want to go on for too long. Day 24 is coming up. It's cold, but I'm in a good mood. I'm looking forward to the day, and I'll see you later. Sometimes you're lost in your own thoughts for minutes and you've got your eyes fixed somewhere, but you can't see what's there in front of you. And then a car comes along. Yes. What I meant to say was, you're so caught up in your thoughts and thinking about this and that, and at some point you ask yourself, where am I right now? Am I even on the path? Where is the next sign? Where is the next yellow arrow? And you don't know where you are at all, and you think, I must have turned off somewhere. But eventually you're rewarded by a view like this, and you think to yourself, I can't be completely wrong. And there's a sign, and there's a sign. The Camino provides. It won't let you down. It will lead you back on track. Buen camino.
Eine Sache, die sich seit einigen Tagen geändert hat.
One thing that has changed in the last few days is the following. There are an incredible number of cats out and about, mostly in threes. Does that mean something? Seems to me to be the local cat gang. You have to be careful. But I have a stick. No, that was just a joke. I crossed the town of Ponferrada with its 70,000 inhabitants, which is famous for its castle and a bridge that was built for pilgrims. How could it be otherwise, back in the 11th century? Crossing rivers was a tricky business for pilgrims. As I learnt from a tour guide, unscrupulous ferrymen used to lure pilgrims onto their ferries and throw them overboard in the middle of the river in order to seize all their belongings. Fortunately, times have changed. Today, people all over the world are being ripped off much more intelligently, without realizing it or even getting killed in the process. After the Templars ruled the city for a long time, it then became a bone of contention between the Count of Limos and his son. Fights broke out time and again. Okay? Family, you don't choose them. In the end, the church ended the dispute by simply declaring the whole area its property. That used to work. Imagine if the church ended wars that way today. That would make many oligarchs despair. It's a really good idea to simply cling to the river in a larger city and let yourself drift along. Then you can find your way into the city but also out again, and you're usually even on the Camino somehow. Look, there's a stork's nest with 2 storks. It's just like at home. Someone has just put up photos and laid flowers for a loved one. You come across that again and again. I was just walking through a beautiful garden and had to think about what was going on in my mind today. And I spent quite a long time today thinking about things that didn't go so well in my life, things that went wrong, and things that I'm struggling with. Somehow that came back again today, although I hadn't thought about such things for a few days. And yes, then I met a blind man in the first town I reached. A blind man with a stick. He was struggling. He was an elderly gentleman who was struggling to find his own way along the side of the road. He was very slow, very, very slow. And when I had crossed the village, I came through a field, and at the end of the field was the next village. And there I came across a man in a wheelchair, again an elderly gentleman. He was missing a leg and was clutching a shopping bag with his left hand, shakily, so that he could just about hold it. And with his right hand he was moving one tire of his wheelchair, so that he could move around, and he had great difficulty moving through the street. Nevertheless, he smiled at me and wished me a good journey. And just now I passed a place where someone had placed fresh flowers and 2 photos of a loved one they had lost. And he had also written a few lines about it. And yes, I still somehow think about my worries, and I don't want to somehow put it in relation to that. But once again, it's a nod to this path here. It's a gentle invitation. Hey, it's okay to carry your suffering with you in some way. And it's also okay if that makes you think. But the world is bigger, and you can jump from plate to plate here, from plate to plate, and start thinking outside the box. There's already the next plate for you to look at. That doesn't completely wipe away my gloom, but it still makes me smile a little, a bit of a smile. Because I realize that we keep thinking that we are prisoners of our thoughts, our circumstances, our personal worries, and that our thoughts are our reality. And that's largely true. That is indeed true. But what we often forget is that the space in which we think can be infinitely large and is not a prison.
Der Raum, in dem wir denken, unendlich groß sein kann und eben kein Gefängnis ist.
We build that for ourselves.
Das bauen wir uns selber. Zweiter Teil vom heutigen Tag war heute Morgen, wo ich wirklich sehr selig war.
The second part of today was this morning, when I was really very blissful and observed everything very closely. I was fascinated by the smallest things, statues on the edge, little carvings, people's houses, the wide view, the panorama, and every now and then animals, like salamanders, dogs or cats, or horses or bulls. Right now, I'm happy to see this beautiful meadow here after all. Yes, I'm sticking to my guns. The path does something to you. And what it does to each and every one of us is an individual miracle.
Cacabelos.
The mouse and I take a little break. I actually thought that I would have to cover the last 8 kilometers here without any supplies. But then I found this lovely place here, on the outskirts of the city. And what's on offer here? Cass orange lemonade and toast. Delicious. It's only 3.3 kilometers to Villafranca. I should be able to do that easily here on one half of the buttocks, shouldn't I? I think I can already see the first houses.
This is Sebastian and I's room for the night. There's my bed. He'll take the bottom bunk. We're the only ones in the room, so I've been told. This is our small room, but it's adequate, and our showers are down the hall. We have a nice little balcony here. This is in Villafranca, and I'll show you. You can see down the street here, and the waterfall there. It's one direction. Over the other direction. There's the other direction. There's Sebastian. Hey, say hello.
Hello, friend.
I just got here.
No, you're kidding.
We have arrived at the albergue in Villafranca, and our accommodation is on the outskirts of the town. The view is quite good. When I got to the town center, I met Gio, who also looked a bit tired. I was the last to arrive, but Mike was only 15 minutes ahead of me. Today was a really long trip. Mike just checked his smartphone. We've walked 33 kilometers. Unbelievable. 33 kilometers. That's about 2 miles. But you can tell, I'm a bit tired, but not much, interestingly. But that doesn't stop us from eating. But today I'm only having a big salad. Which do-it-yourself store sells rocks like this to place in your own home? That will remain a mystery forever. It all looks like Disneyland. It's a backdrop. Nobody can tell me otherwise. Yes, we left sometime this morning at 8:30 a.m. and we arrived in Villafranca. Is that right? Yes, it must be true. Oh dear, it was a long day. So our host said, we have to go down there and put our feet in the water. It'll do us good. Maybe. But not in this life. There are those rocks again. Well, somebody fry me a stork. Some brownies built that here. Okay, I have to explain. Maybe you don't know the phrase, somebody fry me a stork. In Germany, this expression is used to express complete surprise and indignation on the one hand, but at the same time, to emphasize that it is meant ironically. Roasting a stork would be cruel. Nobody does that, even if it tastes good. Smiley. Yes, Villafranca. What comes to mind is that we had a delicious salad today. And then, of course, we closely watched the dishwashers. How long does it take them to get the dishes clean? They were quicker than the people in Villabajo. Sorry, you don't understand that now. This gag refers to a famous German TV advert for washing up liquid that every child can quote. Of course, the people in Villabajo used the wrong washing up liquid, so much for that. Yes, today is April 8th, 2023. It's the 24th day on the Camino Francis, the way of St. James, and tomorrow is Easter. Unbelievable that we've been walking for over 20 days in a row. Yes, tonight we've just been told there's another party in the city at 11 o'clock. But I'm really sorry. I'm already in bed by then. There were 33 kilometers on the program today. We found out later. I thought maybe 30 kilometers. But at 33 kilometers, it was the longest tour so far, I think. It was absolutely the longest tour on the Camino so far. And I can't feel it in my muscles at all. Not at all. My bones, my feet feel fantastic. I don't feel anything. In the end, it was more of a mental challenge, but even that wasn't difficult. And one thought we had today is that you could take a break. So if you have 2 months to walk the Camino, you can easily walk 10 kilometers a day and then have either half a day or maybe even a day and a half to go sightseeing. And the towns here are well worth it. Today, we passed through Ponferrada, a large town with an imposing castle that is well worth a visit. We could have spent an extra day there. Gio, the Australian we met, does the same thing, I think. He stays here for 2 days and takes his time to see everything. But we move on. I started with the topic, giving courage, overcoming fear here on the Camino. I can still remember standing on the bridge in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port and saying my text, because I want to encourage my children and everyone watching. You can go anywhere you want, even if things look really humble in your life. If things really don't go any further and you think that everything you hold dear will be taken away from you, everything will be taken away from you, then you can still go to the end of the world. You can still do that. You can always set off. And this topic is knocking on the door again now, because tomorrow is going to be a really tough day. There are 3 mountains we have to get over. Maybe 2 of them are just small hills, which I will also master, and I'm already looking forward to it. But then you have to go all the way down again, to 0, so to speak. And at the end of the day, you have to climb another 1,300 meters in altitude from 0 as the crowning glory, well, maybe half of it. You will never reach sea level. That comes at the end of the day. There will be another interesting climb. I don't know yet how steep it will be, and I don't want to know. But knowing that it's in front of you at the end of the day and not at the beginning is enough to instill respect in me. Me as a recreational athlete. I mean, anyone who's running a triathlon now is thinking, yeah, Sebastian, don't be silly, I can do it really easily. Yeah, good for you. Congratulations. Everyone at their own pace. But the way I see tomorrow, that I'm really looking forward to it because there are these challenges, and I'm really looking forward to it. On the other hand, I also know that I'll be pretty tired at the end of the day, and I can't quite get that together yet. Yes, about today again. It was the longest day, boring in parts, and then again, breathtakingly beautiful. It felt like I went through countless small villages that looked similar, and I was always trying to find something to drink. Water was the problem today. I spoke to a few pilgrims. Most of the pilgrims simply said, "I'm thirsty, I want a drink." It was incredibly warm today. It was very, very warm. The perceived temperature was 5 degrees higher than the real temperature, and yes, as I said, we crossed a few villages along a road. But then we also had a wonderful route through a wine-growing area, really over an hour or 2. That was fantastic. The albergue here in the town is on the outskirts, on the border, so to speak, which is where we will continue tomorrow. The accommodation is fine. There is a very good shower. We were able to do our laundry free of charge, which we always like to do, and then Mike told me how he met Gio. They were both there before me. They wanted to have a glass of wine together, and they only ordered 1 glass of wine. But the waiter in the restaurant only spoke Spanish. And everyone was suddenly lost in translation. Gio and Mike were convinced that they had made it clear to the waiter that they only wanted 1 glass of wine each. But what did they get? A complete 3-course pilgrim's menu for $15 plus a huge carafe of wine. And all this at 4 p.m. That was a bit of a surprise, but also a funny anecdote. Yes, you realize that the closer we get to Santiago, the more touristy the places are. And if someone orders something, then of course they get everything on the menu. And earlier too. It seems that from now on there's something to eat around the clock. Only the supermarket is still taking a siesta. Yes, and then Mike and Gio didn't need to eat anything in the evening. Nevertheless, Mike accompanied me to the restaurant. There was still room for a salad. And then I said, I actually feel up to going into town and exploring somehow. But I know what's coming tomorrow, so I'm going to go to bed early tonight. And that's why I'm closing the video with this. This is my farewell to you today on day 24 of the Camino Francis on the Way of St. James. See you tomorrow on day 25. It's Easter. I don't know if I'll get anything to eat yet. There's no breakfast here tomorrow. I only have a bottle of water with me. And I just hope that I can find something to eat somewhere on the way. We'll see tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the support. And I'll see you tomorrow. If you're on YouTube now, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up and activate the bell. Then you'll always be up to date and experience day 25, day 26, until we arrive in Santiago up close. That's not so long away. It's not that long away, and we're all a bit preoccupied with that. What are we going to do? I would say we just go in. We just look. We go in and see what happens. I've already heard a few stories. I'm curious. See you then. Thank you very much for watching. See you tomorrow on the Camino. Ciao. Buen camino.